Hello everybody, welcome back to a new Transformers toy review. I'm Autocon, and this is Transformers Studio Series 86 Scavenger. Now right off the bat, we only have one Constructicon left, and we will finally have Devastator. Now I know there's some people that already have their Mixmaster, and they probably bought it on eBay, paid a little more, or they probably got it on other websites. I got mine right now pre-order on GameStop, and it will come out on September 1st. If everything goes well, I should have my Devastator starting on September. So hopefully that goes well. But so far, the Constructicons have been okay. They've been some kind of semi-upgrade, a little refurbish on the whole toy, like a little different articulation, different transformation here and there. So Scavenger is one of those that is still the same figure, and it's based off the Combiner Wars. It's still the same figure. There's some minor changes, but yeah. So let's take a quick look. Again, the painting looks really nice on the figure. The figure is just really nice. The painting is this nice green that they got on all the figures so far, which is really nice green, because if I believe the original Combiner Wars is green, is like a little darker green kinda, and this is more like a lighter fluorescent type of green that blends really good with the purple. But he looks really nice. I do like the silver with the Decepticon symbol right here. It looks really nice. We take a look at the head sculpt. That head sculpt looks really nice. Oh, that head sculpt looks really nice. Turn it around, pretty good. What'd you expect from Scavenger? You know, it's like you know how the figure is gonna end up with everything settled in and everything, but it's still a new figure, if that makes sense. We got some of the the wheels of it. It does not have wheels though, so actually, yeah, it doesn't have wheels, but it doesn't really bother me. You know, I do like this figure, so it looks really good. This has a little movement too as well, so you can just kind of on the figure package, it comes out like this, so you just gotta peg. Oh, honestly, you just do it like that. You just gotta peg that in there when you get the figure, but overall it still looks pretty good. He does come with his little gun. The gun looks pretty sick. Looks like a minigun, machine gun or something like that, with the ammo barrel right here on the side, so I think that looks great. This thing looks really nice. I think the only weapon that I like is Long Haul, because he has like painted. It's not just a black piece. So we'll just put that to the side right now. So far, Scavenger's articulation is pretty good. What'd you expect from a Constructicon, you know? And if you have the Combiner Wars, it's exactly the same. So we'll start off with the head. The head's on a ball joint. You can do 360. You can kind of look down, and he kind of not really look up, but he can kind of do that, so it's pretty solid. He does have a whole ball joint on the arm, so he can do 360 ball joint, so that means 360 bend on the arm. Same thing on the other side, ball joint right here, 360. No swivel on the wrist, but it's still good, don't matter. And then for the legs, I'm just gonna move the arms to the side so we can do the legs. Can go out that much. They can go out more, but you gotta like move it a little bit to the side, and they can kind of go up like that, just because of the whole transformation stuff. And then they can go out that much, honestly. So you do have some nice clearance right here for him to do almost a whole 360 on the leg. So if you wanted to, you can count that as a 360. But yeah, the bend is really nice. I do like how this piece is like showing the whole bend right here, kind of like those figures that have the ankle tilted and then have like an extra piece right here. So it's still pretty cool that it doesn't look like a big gap right here, so I thought that was pretty nice. He does have a little twist right here, swivel right here on the leg, so that's pretty cool. And obviously, Studio Series, most figures come with the tilted ankles. There's some that don't, but oh well. And then there is some articulation on this thing, like I showed it before. It can go all the way up, and then there's some articulation right here. And then there's some rotation right here. Oh, obviously be careful. If you move it too fast, it'll just pegged out and stuff. There's some right here. And that's pretty much it on that articulation for this figure. Now let me bring in the Combiner Wars. Or, well, it is Combiner Wars, but mine's the, like, Warriors United. Still essentially the same figure. So here is Scavenger from Combiner Wars Warrior Knights. So, as you can see, he's a lot taller. I do like this red painted right here and then this silver. I would have loved for that to be painted right here as well. This red right here and then this silver. Just like that guy. I would have loved that. There is some details here on this one. But then the whole section right here for it, it's different compared to this guy. Yeah. You can have him... Literally, he does that. So, my boy Scavenger right here is a little packing, you know? But Scavenger does that because of the whole transformation to combine with Devastator. So, it's a weird mechanism. Not really, but it's still kind of different right here, this whole section. So, that's one thing different. The articulation is the same. They're both on the ball joints. So, you got the rotation right here, the whole thing. Although, one thing that I did like about this, the upgrade, this thing is just like, it just goes down and up. Like, he can have his shoulders down like that, honestly, if he wanted to. But this guy, his shoulders, the whole arm, it just clips in, which is pretty good, because then you don't have this guy right here. So like I said, most of the Constructicons have been like kind of upgrade, downgrade. They do something right and then they do something wrong. Like, it's kind of like 50-50 on these guys right now. They're not the best. Like, you know, they have their ups and downs on the figures, but yeah. Head is still pretty good. It's 360, can kind of look up and then not really down, just like that one. And then for his legs, I do like that they got rid of the whole extending the legs. So on this one you gotta extend it, so it goes in and then you gotta slide the whole thing, that way you get a knee. On this one you don't have to do that. You have ankle tilted here as well. The legs can go out that much, go back that much, and then these pieces have to kind of clip in there, so there's that. And then this is like on that mushroom peg, so it doesn't really peg off, but you only have the articulation right here. This doesn't move at all, so all you get is this, and then rotation. That's pretty much. So then you're kind of stuck with this. And it kind of like annoys me because compared with this guy, you can have it tucked in, which is pretty good. In my opinion, this is a lot better. Oh, my big arms. This is a lot better than having this whole freaking backpack. And then obviously the same thing right here on the back. You have the little conductor cockpit or whatever you want to call it for the construction vehicle. So it's pretty solid. Okay. So yeah, and you can tell there's a big difference on that green right there. I think I have a good decent quality camera to the point where you can actually tell the big difference of the tone of the greens on the Devastators, which I do prefer this nice green right here. Don't get me wrong, I like this one too, but I do prefer this one. This gives me more straight out of cartoon accuracy color. You know. So overall, they're essentially almost the same figure. Even for transformation, they kind of do transform the same. So yeah, so for transformation, let's get that started with. So first, it's a little annoying, but first we're just gonna bring the arms back in, bring that in, and then we're gonna open this piece right here, fold in the head, just like that. Okay, and then we're gonna unpeg this piece right here, because it pegs, which I don't know why, but it pegs. On the Combiner Wars, it doesn't really peg. Let me show real quick. Yeah, it doesn't peg. There's just a gap there, so it can just go in. But it doesn't really make a difference, to be honest, because this doesn't get in the way of the whole arm or any movement. So I don't think there's a necessity for there to be a peg. I don't know why they would do that. I don't know why, but they did that, so oh well. So this goes like that, right? So we gotta move it up a little bit. And I'm gonna do the first on this arm because it's a lot easier to show. So first, we're just gonna unpeg this whole section right here. And then as we unpeg the whole section, we're gonna bring down the arm. And then just gonna make sure it start pegging everything together. Gonna raise this up a little bit. And then you just gotta start pegging everything right here, which is a little annoying. Because you don't really have clearance right here. You don't have clearance. But if you really want to have the clearance, you can just kind of do that. So you can have some better clearance, in my opinion. So now we have that big clearance on there. And then we do the same thing with the other arm. Bring that in. Just kind of bring that in. And as you bring this up, you got to collapse this down here. That way you can just bring the whole section up. And then you got to be careful because this piece right here, it's going to go, that little gap is going to be filled in for that section right there. So you got to like, you have to like push it in there. How did I do it last time? You gotta like push it down. There we go. You gotta like push it, that way it goes in there, because if you don't, it's gonna start breaking right here, this little piece right here, and it's gonna push it up and like down, and like it's just gonna break the figure, you know. And then you also gotta be careful because this piece has to peg in there too, so it's annoying. At least on my copy. I don't know if you guys have the same issues. And then you just gotta peg that in there, and then you just peg this in there. Gotta make sure everything goes in there. And then just kind of squeeze everything, honestly. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. There we go. And then you can honestly just bring this whole section back out. There we go. And then just fold the feet. These are a little pain in the butt to fold them out. At least in my copy. And then you just gotta bring them up. Just bring them up. That's why he has a whole full rotation on the whole legs, because of the whole mechanism of the whole transformation. And there you have Scavenger as the little Constructicon construction vehicle. So he doesn't roll. Well, he slides. But you do get some nice articulation right here on the little scoop right here. So I thought it was pretty cool that you do get that, because the other one was kind of plain. But I do like this whole section where you can just kind of like play with it, you know. Put some dirt on it. Obviously not, because then the figure will get dirty. But if it's owned by a kid, I guess you can do that. I wouldn't do that, but if a kid gets his hands on this figure, then he could probably do that. Constructicons is getting dirty during the job, you know, dirt and stuff. And obviously you have a hole here that you can put the gun right here. So some nice weapon storage, but it's pretty weird to have a construction vehicle with a machine gun or whatever this gun is. So this thing keeps picking off. So you see how this piece is in, like, it looks a little weird with all these lines. Makes me feel like I'm not pegging everything together, but it is everything good, so it doesn't look any weird. But yeah, and that's basically him. Now we're gonna do this. We're gonna do the Combiner Wars. Combiner Wars, very similar, but a lot easier. Just gonna fold the legs inside. Well, not fold them, but slide them back in. Okay, we're gonna bring this whole section here. Okay, and I like to just move this out of the way. And then this whole section right here, the waist, just kind of comes out. And then you have to peg this whole section right here. There we go. And then we're just gonna fold the arms down. Fold the other one down. Just bring this arms like the Studio Series, like I said. They're essentially the same figure. But on this one, it's a lot easier to just kind of like fold this back. And then just kind of like pack everything together. And it just looks nicer in this figure. So we just kind of bring this in there. And then we just bring these up. And then just kind of like tap them here and then tap them there. Tap them here, tap them there. And there you have. And then you only get that. That's all you're getting. There's not this extra hinge on the front, but he is a little bigger. So you can tell Devastator, this one's a little bigger, and then this one's it. So they do look nice together. I really like it. But I do kind of wish they would have kept the same waist system on this new guy. Or maybe just kept the same system for the arms. I wouldn't mind if it was the same figure as this one. But they did change it a little bit right here on the waist. And then the back piece right here. Which is a little annoying. So I will be changing him back. I'll change him back to robot mode. Here's Scavenger back in robot mode, and I will bring my Constructicons so that we can see how we have the team coming up so far. I gotta be careful here. So here's one. Here's two. 3. And 4. Here we have 5 of the Constructicons. We're just missing Mixmaster. And they all look pretty good. Like I said, they're based off the Combiner Wars figure. They still have some differences and some similarities. The one that I really just don't see any difference on is Scrapper. This one was pretty much the same. Just some minor differences. I believe this guy was an upgrade because I didn't like the design that the Combiner Wars had on the legs, because my copy wouldn't peg. His legs would always do the split. So this feels more sturdy, more like secured. I know a lot of people didn't like it because there's no waist swivel or any like there's no like movement here, and it's like kind of dumb right here. But I do like this figure. He looks pretty cool. Hook. There's some clearance right here with the shoulders, which I do like. I do like that. The whole hook right here piece and everything is pretty nice. I do like that it does extend. So he's pretty good, but he still kind of feels the same as the original one, the Combiner Wars. And then Long Haul, obviously, here is pretty much an upgrade. Like I said, I do like his gun because his gun is not just a black piece. But this looks really cool. I do like how he keeps that original aesthetic of the original toy, because if I remember correctly, he does have wheels on the back, and somebody on my TikTok account mentioned that he does have those wheels on the back, so I thought that was pretty cool. And he's a lot smaller and thinner, and he can really like be on the scale with other Transformers, not like the one with the combiners, which is a big block. But it makes sense the way he's built. And then Scavenger just feels pretty much the same as the other Constructicons. So overall right now, these 3 feel pretty much the same, and then these feel pretty unique, different figures, in my opinion. That's my opinion. So can't wait for Mixmaster. Mixmaster obviously looks like a complete different toy from the original one, but we'll see until I get my hands on him. But overall, Constructicons are pretty solid, pretty great. So far they're good. Hopefully we don't get a freaking 6-pack G1 in 3 years. Or maybe if we get the Tonkinator, I'll let it slide. But hopefully we don't get like another Constructicon set with more better painting and more like toy accurate painting, because I'm gonna be so annoyed. It's probably gonna be like $200, so whatever. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the toy review. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to have the notifications turned on. That way you guys get the notification when I do a new toy review. So thank you.